an Islamic scholar, an expert on Islamic thought, contemporary philosophy of religion and theology, process philosophy and theology, religious pluralism, and interfaith dialogue. Please welcome Professor Mustafa Ruskar from Bcnn.
Let me start with expressing my gratitude and the honor and privilege I felt to be part of the 6th Kazi Nazrul Islam endowed lectureship this year. I claim no expertise in Kazi Nazrul Islam. I was only recently introduced to him with the help of Dr. Phyllis Herman, and I feel very lucky to be introduced to Kazi Nazrul Islam. And when she asked me to prepare the lecture this year, I felt great honor. And when I read Kazi Nazrul Islam's books, only recently I recognized that he has important messages for people today. And I try to elaborate, especially on his ideas on religious violence and the relationship among religions. I gave my lecture on Kazi Nazrul Islam's opinions on religious violence and his ideas on mutual appreciation. So I would like to just highlight a few things from my lecture. As part of my specialty and interest, I pay a lot of attention to the literature on Islam, especially during the last decade, where Islam has been put on the forefront of certain discussions, especially Islam's relation to violence and other religions. So certain positions that talk about Islam's relation to violence, and one of these positions is voiced by some extreme critiques of Islam, which basically say that Islam is inherently a violent religion. On the other hand, there are scholars who claim just the opposite, and sometimes they assume an apologetic perspective. When I read Nazrul, in his poetry, in his prose, in his songs, and in his other work, I find some of his opinions very relevant to these discussions, and I believe that he has important messages to say, both to the critics and the apologetics in the recent literature. For example, when the critics, when they try to associate violence with inherently with the Islamic teachings, Nazrul disagrees with that, and he talks about Islam in a variety of places, and he basically proposes the idea that the teachings of the Quran or the teachings of Muhammad, they do not preach violence.
I think Dr. Gulshanara has already mentioned some of the things in this. I need to just musical works, nationally and internationally, to promote Nazrul's philosophy and universal humanism. Social justice and human dignity is presented by his works and life. To facilitate youth engagement, and Nazrul's works also, emphasizing his relevance to the contemporary world, establishing partnership with international academic research institutions to promote Nazrul's literature and music. And this is a private institute. I know that Mr. Rizaldin Stalin is here somewhere. He represents the Nazrul Institute, which is a government facility.
I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Northern University Authority, Toronto, and other bodies that have embarked on a tremendous challenging and daunting task of including Nazrul Islam, our national poet, in the syllabus of the university, which our wishes towards Bengali literature in the form of poems, songs, and other prose writings. We have to remember that Nazrul emerged at a time when Rabindranath Tagore's all-encompassing talents mesmerized and captivated the Bengali audience. And Nazrul and many other writers were successfully or unsuccessfully trying to copy Rabindranath Tagore. And at the time, Nazrul emerged totally different tone, different flavor, and different message. Rabindranath called Shubhendranath Datta and told, look at this boy. He has written a poem, Bidrohi, at the age of 21. I think he's going to do something he's going to contribute in the Bengali literature. I'm really finding something in him. He was against colonialism, and he wanted to promote human brotherhood. He wanted to promote understanding among religions. He wanted to promote equity through his writings and through his actions. He was jailed for his books that inflamed the Bengali. You have to look at him that when was he working? He was working in the British, when the country was under the British rule. When Nazrul was telling that Karara ilaho kapar bhange kar pot gelo lathimar bhangle dhattara jat sab bandi chalay agun jala. And at that time, our Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore was telling, Poshchima chikuri achada shita hapshavani baha. I'm not denouncing any other poet, but I'm just a small comparison. And Nazrul was said this. If most of the lines are the hero worship and the proclamation of his strength and vitality. And in some places he has cooled down, he has come down and expressed his in astonishing language, in a brilliant way, he has expressed his emotions in Bidrohi. His genius and talents surpass all other poems. But this is the only thing that he should do is to properly present Nazrul, his talents, his genius, and his works through accurate translation, through good translation. I don't think that much have been translated so far. I don't know Nazrul Academy, the Lectureship is here. I think it was something I don't know much about Nazrul's works. I've not seen much. I hope you will throw some light on that, how far has been done by Nazrul Academy with regard to translation of Nazrul's works, because as I said, that 4,000 songs, and I think that not more than 500 songs we are familiar with, but so many songs should be, and each song it expresses love, it expresses amazement, it expresses ecstasy, it expresses astonishment, it expresses many other.
Most of you know how the consideration of establishing Nazrul Lectureship and the Nazrul Endowment Fund came up. Kazi Nazrul Islam is the national poet of Bangladesh. We at Tarongo of California felt it is our obligation to ourselves and to our souls to establish Nazrul's work around the world. So we took the opportunity offered to us by the Department of Religious Studies at California State University Northridge. That was back in 2002, and since then, ladies and gentlemen, we have worked really hard. We worked very, very hard to establish this Nazrul Lectureship.